On June 20, 2024, in a Japanese pharmacy, two Chinese tourists suddenly started arguing and then broke into a fight. Someone filming the incident described it as super awkward. I couldn't tell if they were fighting over some product. Back in December 2023, a man at Bangkok airport in Thailand tried to cut in line and got rejected, then became furious. Why do you need to yell at people when you're cutting in line? I know you're Chinese, but why yell here?
You're still young. You want to get married, have kids. Don't do this, okay?
So?
Go ask your parents.
So you're not only cutting in line, you want to hit people too?
You're accusing me of cutting in line? Haven't you ever cut in line? Haven't you?
I've never cut in line. Many people who saw this commented, "That's so embarrassing." And others didn't understand why the man was so angry, especially how cutting in line relates to a woman's marriage and having children. In November 2023, an older Chinese lady also caused a scene in a Japanese store for trying to cut in line. When she attempted to jump the line at the checkout and got denied, she started cursing loudly. It seems a young man wearing a hat tried to pull her back, and she accused him of hitting her. During those relentless minutes, she acted like she had to defend herself against the man. After that, a woman standing in front of the man attempted to mediate peace with the older lady, but ended up being harshly scolded by her. Amid the chaos, the older lady also called her a bakayaro, which is Japanese for a fool or scoundrel. In recent years, the misconduct of Chinese tourists in public abroad has frequently made headlines, sparking global outrage. The examples mentioned above are just a few of such instances. On June 18, a post titled, "Chinese tourists are really going too far. Everyone must see this," was uploaded on the South Korean online community Jeju Mom Cafe, accompanied by a photo. The photo showed a young child defecating next to a tree along a bustling street in Lotaedong, Jeju City. A woman, appearing to be the child's mother, stood by, with another female companion next to her, surrounded by a crowd of passing tourists. The uploader wrote, "It's okay for Chinese people to travel to Jeju Island, but letting their children defecate on our streets is unacceptable. As a resident of Jeju Island, I was so upset that I called the police." The uploader further commented, "Why would they do this? In Korea, even dog feces is cleaned up with a bag, but this is human feces. Why desecrate another country?" Another Korean who witnessed the event also uploaded a video he captured. He wrote, "It was the first time I've seen such a scene, so I was stunned for a moment before I started recording. They were all Chinese, and since I don't speak Chinese, I reprimanded them in English, but they ignored me." Following the police report, Jeju police quickly arrived at the scene, but the Chinese tourists depicted in the video have already left. These two posts quickly spread across various Korean online communities and were extensively reported by the Korean media. The Korean public feels that the woman is both disgusting and ignorant. Some asked, "Is it decent to behave this way in another country?" Others said, "Defecating on a busy sidewalk, how can they be so shameless?" Some even questioned, "Is this also considered part of Chinese culture?" A similar incident occurred a month earlier, on May 8th, when inappropriate behavior by Chinese tourists inside Thailand's Grand Palace in Bangkok sparked widespread social concern and discussion. According to a photo exposed on social media, a little girl was openly urinating in front of the palace while her parents stood by without intervening. One of them even wore a backpack with the Chinese brand Xiaomi. In response, the uploader angrily stated that Thailand's major tourist spots usually have explicit prohibitions and regulations to maintain order and enhance visitors' experience. Some places even ban shorts, others require shoes to be removed, all for the comfort and safety of visitors. For behaviors not explicitly regulated, visitors should have the basic civil awareness to understand what is appropriate and what is not. Some commenters bluntly stated, "This is typical of Chinese tourists. They urinate and defecate anywhere." They must be severely punished. Don't just let it go, or some Chinese tourists really won't learn. Regarding this incident, Thailand's Minister of Tourism and Sports, Sermsak Pongpanit, criticized the behavior of this group of tourists as highly inappropriate and lacking respect for the sacredness of temples. He also noted that the incident would negatively affect Thailand's tourism image and called for an investigation by relevant departments. The reputation of Chinese tourists have become infamously poor, leaving many foreigners unimpressed. In May 2024, a post on Reddit went viral, featuring a Chinese international student in the US who maxed out all his credit cards before returning home after graduation, netting 1 million yuan and stating, "Giving the American capitalists one last lesson." In the post, the Chinese student wrote, "Credit cards maxed out and fleeing the US. Before leaving, I maxed out every bank's credit and business cards totaling 140,000 US dollars, equivalent to 1 million yuan." He continued, "Thanks to Chase, Citibank, and American Express for your company over the past 3 years. All of your banking services are really good. I always remember that I am Chinese and committed to revitalizing China. I use this first bucket of gold to contribute back to my homeland, also as a heavy punch to American imperialism, and a final lesson to American capitalists." The post left both Chinese and foreign online commentators shocked, sparking discussions. "I'm puzzled. Don't these banks have limits? Especially for those without permanent visas, then anyone can do this and cross the border into Mexico. I think they should revoke his degree." I'm glad the banks got cheated by a creditless international student. Maybe they will revise their policies now. Chinese social media users also criticize such behavior. "I really can't stand these people. They feel proud, but their actions create significant problems for compatriots who wish to travel abroad in the future. It's hard to tell whether it's more sad or embarrassing. It's criminal and extremely immoral. You have to pay back what you owe, no matter it is to whom." When you come across such individuals in life, it's best to steer clear and avoid any association with them. However, some commentators pointed out that this type of situation is quite common among international students. Back in 2008, when I first started college, a classmate from Zhejiang told me his relatives did the same thing in Japan. Many international students do this, and I've been hearing about it for over 10 years. 20 years ago, when studying in the UK, everyone would max out their credit cards just a few days before returning home. As the issue gained attention, the student who posted quickly deleted his post and deactivated his account. Beyond exploiting such loopholes, there are also numerous instances of Chinese tourists dining and dashing. On April 12, 2024, a barbecue buffet restaurant in Bang Sue, Bangkok, reported on Facebook that 2 Chinese female tourists dined and left around 8 p.m. and forgot to pay, quickly exiting the premise. The post included surveillance footage of them eating and leaving. The restaurant commented, "To the 2 Chinese female customers, please come back and pay. This is the 3rd time this year we've had Chinese people skip the bill. Have some sympathy for those trying to make a living." Following this, the media spoke to the restaurant to learn more about the incident. They found out that the 2 had spent a total of 2,696 Thai baht, about $73 US, but no one had yet come forward to settle the bill. The restaurant thus advised others in the tourism industry to be wary of Chinese tourists, noting that while there are many respectful travelers from China, a significant number show no remorse for their actions. After the news was shared, many online commentators in Thailand commented, "Running that fast doesn't seem like they forgot to pay. This is clearly a case of dine and dash. Hope they get caught. They definitely need to recover the money. The staff are innocent." A similar episode of exploiting minor opportunities occurred in another form. In March 2024, a Chinese tourist visiting the British Museum in the UK purchased a Rosetta Stone souvenir water bottle. To his dismay, upon opening the box, he found that a switch had been made. Instead of the genuine item, there was an old water bottle with a sleeve labeled in simplified Chinese. It reads Jinzhou Bank, Xinfu Bank, complete with a phone number and an address in Xinfu District, Fushuan City. The victim later posted on Xiaohongshu urging, "Do not steal from the British Museum shop." He pointed out that such theft might not significantly impact the store, but imagine buying a souvenir only to find a used, dirty cup when you open the box. Many people might visit the British Museum only once in their life, and discovering such a swap can't even be rectified. How would you feel? He added, "The bottle itself wasn't very expensive, but please stop this behavior. It's really repulsive." Some others expressed sympathy, commenting, "This is really frustrating. To go on a trip and bring back such a thing." Others humorously remarked, 300 years later, a cup from Jinzhou Bank's Xinfu branch has escaped from the British Museum. The disapproval from Western countries is not limited to these actions alone. Some Chinese tourists are particularly fond of capturing animals. In countries like Canada, the United States, and the United Kingdom, it's common to see various wildlife like ducks, geese, squirrels, and peacocks in urban areas. The law explicitly states that capturing wildlife is illegal, yet some Chinese immigrants routinely ignore these laws. In November 2023, a Chinese woman in Los Angeles County was stopped while attempting to take a wild goose from a park to cook at home. When confronted, she assertively said, "My daughter likes goose meat. I caught a wild goose to make soup. What's wrong with that?" She was unaware that her actions were a serious violation of the law. A lawyer pointed out that many Chinese newcomers to the U.S. think that catching a duck or a sparrow is no big deal. To some within the Chinese community, capturing wildlife is seen as a display of skill. They are tempted by the sight of wild ducks and geese in parks, thinking that wild meat is tasty and free. Why not take advantage of it? They believe that since wildlife isn't domesticated, capturing it isn't considered theft. However, in the U.S., capturing wildlife will lead to heavy fines and imprisonment. In Western countries, it's customary to stop cars to let animals like wild peacocks and geese cross the street. If people spot an injured animal, they typically call professional agencies for help. They believe this cultivates compassion for animals in children from a young age, teaching them not to mistreat or take lives arbitrarily. Unfortunately, some less conscientious Chinese view these small animals simply as food. These reports suggest that Chinese tourists around the world are frequently criticized for poor behavior. Visitors to Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris encounter signs in Chinese urging them to "please keep quiet," a notice not given to tourists from any other countries, including France's domestic tourists. Thai palace bathrooms prominently display signs in Chinese that read, "Please flush after use," and trash bins in Pearl Harbor in the United States are marked in Chinese, "Trash can here." These signs, exclusively in simplified Chinese, frequently appear in major Chinese tourist destinations like France, Germany, Japan, Thailand, and Singapore. In Hong Kong, a Chinese society, people from mainland China are called locusts by some locals due to their behavior. Why does such a phenomenon exist? Some experts attribute it to the governance and education policies of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. Firstly, regarding governance, China has been known as a land of etiquette for thousands of years. In China's traditional 6 arts, rights is the foremost, emphasizing the Chinese tradition of valuing manners. Historical family instructions and school rules are filled with etiquette norms concerning daily life and social interactions. To be accepted by society, one had to cultivate moral character and behave appropriately. Before the Tang and Song dynasties, Chinese culture was synonymous with elegance, and China was known for exporting etiquette. Belief in divine retribution and the existence of gods has been a millennia-old tradition among Chinese, even among those without explicit religious beliefs. Traditionally, Chinese people strive to perfect their character by adhering to the teachings of gods, saints, and sages. Society was regulated through rites, and attitudes towards heaven, earth, and people were respectful and humble. However, since the CCP's rise to power in 1949, it has transformed people's daily habits, fostering vulgarity and lowly behavior. Today, CCP propaganda and some so-called celebrity scholars frequently assert that Chinese people have low quality and are not suited for democracy, or that Chinese people need the leadership of the CCP to avoid chaos. Moreover, to consolidate public support, the CCP often serves patriotism sentiments and manipulates the perceived opposition between the Chinese and Western systems to deepen the public sense of crisis and national pride. Outsiders believe this explains the mentality of the student who fled the US with $1,000,000 yuan, claiming he wanted to add bricks to the motherland and strike a heavy punch against American imperialism. Commentators note that the dine and dash and greedy behaviors of some overseas Chinese tourists are closely linked to the CCP's morality-destroying education. The Chinese penchant for taking advantage often goes unnoticed and is widely accepted. This mindset has led some to become thieves, some to become unethical merchants, and others to become bandits who plunder food. This phenomenon raises some questions. Are the Chinese descent in Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan like this? Were the Chinese like this 60 years ago? During the Republic of China, men were gentle and elegant, and women were graceful and reserved. Why are mainland Chinese people so different today? An online commentator sarcastically remarked that in today's Chinese society, following rules is looked down upon. In the past, even if Chinese people did something dishonorable, they knew it was shameful, and others looked down on such behavior. But today's Chinese not only do not consider it shameful, but actually take pride in it. Those who witness it either become accustomed to it or secretly curse why they didn't do the same. When a country lacks morals, its people will lack morals too. The government has embezzled so much money and done so many bad things, so why can't I? On this issue, China Matters expert and former associate professor of historical education at Capital Normal University in China, Li Yuanhua, stated that although some Chinese have realized the incivility of their actions, the widespread nature of such behavior persists. The fundamental reason is the CCP's party culture has destroyed traditional culture, turning the land of etiquette into a land of wild beasts. For thousands of years, Chinese traditional culture has embodied concepts such as heaven, the Tao, gods, Buddha, benevolence, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, and faith. Before the CCP ruled China, the country was known for its reverence for etiquette, famously dubbed the Land of Rights. However, the CCP has completely destroyed the Chinese people's sense of propriety, integrity, and shame. Li Yuanhua believes that the Chinese people, lacking morals, private virtue, and any sense of shame, are everywhere. Ultimately, it is the CCP that is causing them to lose face as Chinese.